Dr. Flock. He's a biomedical physicist who owns his own company, and we're going to ask him a couple questions about asthma. So Dr. Flock, do you think that there is a difference between people who have asthma from birth or who develop it within their lives? Is there a difference there?
Well, the way you ask the question, yes. I mean, adults can have asthma, and in the majority of cases for adults, their asthma is essentially identical to childhood asthma. There's a small fraction of adults, maybe 10–15%. It's usually women over the age of 20 or so who can get a version of asthma that's different from the childhood one. And it's different in that it doesn't start because, for example, a lot of kids exercise or they get winded because of that, or they encounter pollen or something in their food that sets off the asthma. In this adult version, which is called intrinsic asthma, it can be set off by not those kinds of things, but maybe strong smells or toxins in the air, stuff like that. And it's a little bit different in that they generally won't grow out of it.
So they develop at what age do you think is normal?
Well, typically anything beyond 20 or so, and for some reason it's mostly women.
Alright, so my next question is, are there any commonalities or patterns in people who develop asthma, like the majority of people?
Yeah, there are some, and there's some things that aren't common, in fact. But one of the strongest commonalities between all people with asthma is that often their parents have had it. And that gives you some sort of predisposition towards it. Probably genetic, obviously, because that's what you get from your parents, but it's still not proven, in fact. Now the other thing is, if you, as a child, were sensitive to, if you had an immune system that was sensitive such that you got a lot of infections, for example, that also can be causally related to asthma, and that's common between adults and kids. They all seem to have that to a large degree. There may be a genetic aspect too. It's not really proven. There's a couple of genes that have been discovered that seem to be common in people who have asthma, but it's not clear that there's a causal relationship between that gene and asthma, or if it just is an association.
So my next question is, do you think doctors will discover the cause of asthma, and with that, like a cure or even better preventative cause?
Well, I think the answer to that is yes, given enough time. The causes, on one level, the causes of asthma are already well known. It's like pollen in the air, strong smells, exercising, respiratory tract infections. If you have a preponderance towards asthma and that happens to you, those events, then you're likely to have an event where you have trouble breathing. So that sort of causes asthma, but you have something before that gives you, that's right. Like I, for example, can breathe in allergens that may give you an asthma attack, but they won't give me an asthma attack. So there is something that is different between you and I, for example, if you have asthma. Treatments for the symptoms of asthma are well established, and they're improving all the time. So it's certainly a manageable disease, and by far the majority of people. And that research will continue going on, and it'll get better and better all the time, as everything does. Will there be a cure? Eventually, but it's hard to say when.
Gotcha. So do you think there is any similarity between the lungs of an asthmatic, or people who smoke on occasion, not like chronic smoking, but just like every once in a while? Do you think there's any similarity between lungs, like respiratory symptoms or anything like that?
Well, that sort of depends. I mean, first of all, smoking in itself can be basically the allergen or the toxin that sets off asthma attacks too. So, for example, in an asthmatic person who smokes, their lungs behave a little differently from a person with asthma because they're probably a little bit more sensitive to the smoke. However, if they quit smoking, in fact, after a very short period of time, their lungs return to appear to be the same in their function and in their microscopic appearance as a person who has asthma who has never smoked. That's actually very interesting. That gives you some interesting ideas of you know, what to look at when you're doing research pertaining to smoking. I mean, are there similarities? You know, I mean, there can be. I mean, the health, you know, if you just smoke a couple of cigarettes, you know, not a good idea, but you know, you're probably going to survive. Your lungs are probably going to look okay, and they can actually repair themselves too if you do damage to them, sublethal damage. On the other hand, if somebody just happens to have a bad gene, or if they just happen to have bad luck, they can smoke one cigarette, their lungs will become non-functional, and they'll die.
And the last question is, do you have any ideas about how a person comes to develop asthma, like either at birth or later in life?
Well, you know, as you probably have discovered in your classes, there seems to be a genetic association with it, given that, you know, your parents have it, and possibility you'll have it, and there's a couple of genes discovered that seem to be associated with it. And you get it as an infant, which tends to make people think that there's a genetic component to it, and I'm pretty sure there is. And furthermore, there's this theory called the hygiene theory that is based on, or came about because it seems like the preponderance of asthma in Western society is 20, 30, 40 times greater than it is in like third world nations. And you know, we generally have better health care here, so you wouldn't normally, you'd expect it to be the other way around. And one thing that's very common here, as you know, is cleanliness, basically, which has helped us throughout the ages, obviously, to survive. But there's a possibility that not being exposed to things that don't kill you is what's actually giving us asthma. For example, Nietzsche says, you know, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and that's actually true.
Hi, my name is Dominic Batista. I'm here with Ali Damasi. Yes.
Oh, I was like, why are you staring?
And I believe you have asthma, Ali.
Yes, I do.
Yeah?
Yeah.
When were you diagnosed?
I was like 4, I was there.
4. That's pretty young.
Yeah.
How'd you deal with having to take your inhaler around everywhere? Did your parents do that for you?
No, I had it with me most of the time.
Did you ever lose it?
Yeah, I did. A couple of times.
That must have been pretty scary. You ever had an asthma attack?
Yeah.
Really? What are those like? Describe it to me.
It's terrifying. You can't breathe. Sometimes you cough so much you almost throw up. It's horrible.
What does it feel like in your throat?
Your throat? Well, it's mostly like in your lungs, and it feels like they're not getting any air at all.
Do you play sports?
Yes.
Really? What sports?
I play winter guard. Well, I guess I do winter guard.
Winter guard. What's that like? What is winter guard for the fans who don't know?
It's spinning, rifle, and saber, and flag, and dance mixed together.
Sweet. You go to football games, you do that?
Yeah.
Take your inhaler?
Yeah, I do actually.
That's good. Let's see. You ever had an asthma attack while doing...
No.
Well, that's fortunate.
Yeah.
I'm happy. How does it affect your ability to play this sport?
Well, when we have to do a lot of running, it makes it pretty hard. It's hard to breathe when you're running. But otherwise, it's pretty good. Like, there's nothing I can't handle.
Cool. We've got some medical questions here. Just want to test your knowledge on your condition, okay? What do you believe to be the cause of asthma?
It's caused by an inflammation of the airways.
Really?
Yeah.
That was pretty scientific, if I must say.
I don't think so, but okay.
How severe or insevere has your asthma progressively gotten over your...
It's gotten less and less. Like when I was little, it was really bad.
Really?
But, yeah.
So it's a depleting illness?
Yeah.
Is it curable, do you know?
I don't think it is,
No?
actually. They have like medication, so you don't have to carry an inhaler,
Yeah.
but I don't think those cure it.
Have people ever been relieved of asthma, just randomly?
Yeah, actually you can like grow out of it.
You can grow out of it?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you'll be listening?
I'm hoping so, yeah.
Me too. Well, that concludes it, ladies and gentlemen.
Caden, tell me, at what age were you diagnosed or realized that you had asthma? And what events made you check it out even more?
Well, at the age of 10, I started, getting into some serious sporting activities like swimming, and then I learned that it was hard for me to breathe while I was working out hard, and then my parents said, we should probably check with the doctor and see what you got, and ended up leading to asthma.
Caden, how does asthma affect your workout routines or your physical activities?
Well, if the day I'm swimming and I don't take my inhaler, I can't swim at all, and I start having some swelling in my throat and I can't breathe. But if I take my inhaler, I should be okay.
So it's usually like pretty instantaneous after you start working out that you
notice within the first minute.
Yeah. So how does it work out like when you're in like competitions and stuff? Do you just have to keep your inhaler close then when you're going all out?
Yeah, usually keep it close by.
All right.
Yeah.
Caden, how has the severity of your asthma changed since you were first diagnosed or realized you had asthma?
Well, I think the longer I've been swimming and the years of swimming, it's just progressed to getting worse, and the chlorine and stuff getting into my lungs, it's just progressively gotten worse.
So is it more like the chemicals in the water then, or like actually working out, like working your lungs that's
Well, it
making
feels
worse?
like both. Just being, working out does it, and then just being around that pool environment, the hot, muggy area, just kind of seems like it just makes it worse over time. So.
Like the air is kind of thick, hard to breathe in.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
Yep.
All right. What like precautionary measurements can you take with asthma before you go work out or do some sort of physical activity?
Well, for me, I just make sure I take my inhaler if I think I'm going to have a rigorous workout, and just keep it close by just in case.
That's good. Yeah, definitely helps keep your mind at ease, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. Because if I don't have it, I'm just worried.
All right. And so, like, what kind of, like, does it affect your decision-making in life, having asthma, like what you do with your friends, or when you work out, do you stop early or whatever? How does it affect you?
I try to not let it affect me at all. Do the normal things everybody else does. Just keep it around and make sure that if anything does pop up, then I have the right stuff to control it. So.
You don't think it's like obvious to your friends that you have it or anything like that? Like you keep it under the scope kind of thing?
Yeah, I definitely do.
Right on. And the last one is kind of a sciencey one. It's what do you believe to be the cause of asthma?
I don't know. I think, to be honest, because I didn't have it before I ever swam. Like, I was fine. But, like, after I started swimming for a couple of years, it just came about. So,
Like
I think it has something to do with
physical endurance induced, kind of.
Yeah. I think...
Hoyt from RV. He used to have asthma, doesn't have it anymore, and this is his story. How you doing, Lee?
I'm peachy. How about you?
Pretty good. At what age were you diagnosed with it?
We first noticed my asthma problems when I was in first grade. It started during kind of the spring when all my allergies started to kick in.
Nice. Did you go to a doctor, or did your mom?
Yeah, we went to the doctor and we got a prescription inhaler for me to use, so it'd be easier to breathe.
Were there any specific events that worried you, your family, your mom, or you?
Not really. I think mostly since I was doing soccer, it was kind of hard for me to run a little bit, but other than that, no, we didn't have too much of a problem.
Did the inhaler help a lot, or did you?
Yeah, the inhaler helped a lot. It just kind of cleared the airway for me to breathe, so I could actually live.
Nice. How did asthma affect your workouts, like playing soccer?
Yeah, like I said, playing soccer during mostly the springtime, when my allergies started to kick in, it was hard for me to breathe and run. So running was hard. I guess still today, I get kind of a wheezing feeling.
Do you still use an inhaler?
Yeah, here and there, very, very rarely I do, since I don't really have it anymore.
Do you still play soccer or any other sports?
No, I gave up on soccer and I just snowboard now, so I don't really have any allergies then.
So it doesn't affect you snowboarding that much?
No.
As you said, you don't really have it anymore. At what age did you notice it's starting to go away?
When it started to go away, I'd say in middle school, I started to, was able to breathe more. You know, my allergies weren't as bad as they were, and yeah, it just kind of went away, and we didn't have to use my inhaler anymore.
That's good. What precautionary measurements would you take before doing a sport, or?
Just before I take the inhaler so I could actually breathe, and then if I started to feel the symptoms again, I just take another little puff of whatever the inhaler is, and I just kind of go on about my regular workout.
Is there a certain amount of time that has to be in between puffs?
No, it just depends on it's all up to you. Whenever you start to feel bad or you can't breathe, you just go ahead and take 2 puffs and that's it.
Do you worry about your asthma at all anymore?
Not anymore, just because I'm not affected by it anymore. But yeah.
So you don't take any cautious?
No, I just do my regular whatever I want to do now.
Nice. What do you think the cause of asthma is?
It depends on who you are, I guess. For me, it was mostly allergies. During the summer or spring, you know, kind of most of the pollen. I guess if, I don't know, it could be birth or just genetic, I guess. It could be anything, actually. But, yeah, mine was allergies.
Hello, I'm Gandalf the Grey. I'm here today with Natan and PJ. They both have asthma, and we are going to see if asthma patients are as athletic as normal athletes can be. So, let us begin the trials. Holy!
I'll give him a head start.
Whatever.
Really long head start.
When is he gonna actually die?